So today we're going to cover teaching protection sport skills to your dog without a decoy. So most people in the country these days do not have access on a regular basis to a skilled training decoy. And so out of necessity, lots of people are learning to teach their dogs certain structural skills that they're going to apply to protection sports themselves with toys, tugs, bite wedges, those sorts of things. So what we're going to cover is a lot of the traditional protection sport exercise skills for both the ring sports, Mondio ring, French ring, Belgian ring. There are similarities between all of them and some differences. We'll talk about them lightly. But the protection sport skills for the ring sports and for Schutzhund or IPO. Again, a lot of these basic skills also have carryover to police service work, the structure and control necessary in police service work, or any biting sport for that matter. But we're going to focus on what we would consider traditional exercises in the protection sports. And what we're going to do is, of course, the prerequisite here is that we have a dog that is motivated to play and bite a tug, a wedge, a ball of some kind of toy, and the dog has to be highly motivated for these activities. If we have a dog that's not very motivated, then we certainly can't add structure to our work until we get the motivation to the level that we want. So the base assumption here is that our dog is highly motivated to bite the toy or object that we're using to teach these exercises. We're going to cover a whole series of basic exercises from the hold and bark to actual environmental conditioning, and we'll go through them individually and tell you about the specifics to teaching these exercises and some of the common problems we encounter when teaching these exercises. The dog's sort of ready, and it goes much more smoothly. It's not a perfect carryover, but it's okay. So the skills we're going to cover in this video, and again, we're talking about teaching these skills at a lower arousal level away from the decoy with toys, or bite wedges, tugs, a variety of things. But what one of our goals here in teaching the dogs these exercises away from the decoy is not only to prepare the dog to be more successful when we come to the decoy, but to reduce the arousal level to some degree so the dog is more successful during the learning phase. So when we look at what we do in dog training in general, our system is based on communicating to the dog clearly what their job is. And it usually helps while we're trying to teach the dog a new behavior to bring down the arousal a little bit. So in obedience, for instance, we do this with food, and then we transfer the behaviors learned with food to a toy, which is generally speaking for a working dog, a higher arousal activity. So they have some concept of what we're expecting them to do before we take it to the toy or increase the arousal level. Well, it's exactly what we're doing here. So what we're doing is teaching the structure of these exercises without the dog at a very high arousal level. Now, some dogs are very motivated for the toys and bite wedges, and so they'll still be significantly worked up, or they're significantly motivated for this activity, but not as much as they would be for the decoy. So it allows us to teach the dog more clearly what we expect, so that when we take that work to the decoy, we're more successful. There won't be a perfect carryover from this work to the work in the protection, but the more of this we do, the better off we are. And the skills we're going to cover here today are going to be the bark and hold. Most of our protection sports have a bark and hold where the dog has to learn to come in front of the decoy and bark to alert the handler to where the decoy is hidden. We're going to talk about teaching guarding positions for both Schutzhund and the ring sports. There are various different types of guarding positions that we could ask the dog to do. It might be to sit in front of the helper, down in front of the helper, go between the helper's legs, or any number of different guarding positions. We want to teach those positions and those skills away from the bite work. We're going to talk about teaching what we call contact heeling. And contact heeling is where the dog touches the handler and focuses on something else. In this case, it's going to be a toy or somebody with a toy, but we'll transfer that to the decoy. And their contact heeling is the root of several specific exercises in both Schutzhund and ring sport. So once our dog understands contact heeling, we're going to use that to teach both the back transport for Schutzhund, the side transport for Schutzhund, and all of our defensive handler exercises for the ring sports. We're also going to cover teaching the dog a foot target and turning on a foot target to prepare the dog for the object guard in the ring sports. We're going to teach the dog biting technique for leg bites, where we teach the dog to turn their head either direction to bite the legs, like we're going to teach in ring sport work or any suit related work. We're going to teach targeting skills to our dogs, where we actually teach the dog to target different places on the body only with a toy instead of actually taking the bite on your body. So we don't need a sleeve or suit to actually teach our dog various targeting areas. We're going to teach the dogs the position cues for our escort exercises in ring sport. So in ring sports, the various ring sports, the dog must transport the helper, and the helper will try to escape. And we have choices about where we teach the dog to escort, what position we teach the dog to escort in. And we put that on cue. So we can teach all those skills away from the bite work with a toy as well. We're going to focus on teaching our recall from the bite exercises with both voice, or with either voice or whistle, like we do in ring sport. So the dog in ring sports, the dogs must recall to the handler off the bite. So we're going to teach those skills as well. And we're going to teach some environmental conditioning exercises where we teach the dog to work through certain environmental stressors with a toy away from the bite work. Many of our various protection sports will expose the dog to various environmental stressors as a part of the work, and so we can work on that away from the bite work as well. We're also going to teach searching behavior, both the directed search for Schutzhund and the free search for the ring sports. So certain sports teach searching as a pattern and an obedience exercise, like an IPO, and certain sports have a free search, where the decoy is hidden somewhere on the field, and when you come onto the field, you simply send your dog to search, and the dog has to go find the helper wherever he's hidden. So there's searching exercises as well. We also will cover briefly, it's covered extensively in our tug video and other places, but we'll cover briefly the process for teaching the out as well.